Hello, this is the World Class Stand podcast. This is episode 2 with Craig Alcock. We're going to be talking about his 1-11, clubs he played with, and what he's up to now. Remember to like and subscribe. We'll get back to you.
So, Craig, can you just run us through your all-time played with 1-11 and the best manager that you played for?
Yeah, it was very, very tough, and I apologise for probably people I've forgotten and missed and stuff like that. But yeah, I said Alex McCarthy in goal, with an honourable mention to Joe Lewis, who was very close.
Yep.
And then I think I had Terry Skiverton, who was my captain at Yeovil when I first started.
Legend of the club.
Yeah, top man as well, and yeah, brilliant. Then either side of him, I went with Stephen Corker and Ryan Bennett, who have both played in the Premier League. We've obviously Cork's played for England, and Benno, I think, played for a lot of under-21s, I think, and stuff coming through. So he was obviously not a bad two to pick from, to be fair. And then I had Jamie Murphy on right wing, sort of as such, who was fortunate enough to play with at Sheffield. Tommy Rowe was on the left side. Again, I played with at Peterborough and at Doncaster, so that was nice. Then George Boyd and Chris Cohen, centre mid, respectively. Boyd played for Burnley in the Prem and had a real long and illustrious career at Peterborough. It's probably one of Peterborough's greatest ever players. And then Chris Cohen, obviously in Yeovil, which I was fortunate enough to be in Yeovil's team of the decade with him. So that was him. And then Lee Tomlin in front of them as sort of a 10. Probably one of the most naturally gifted players that I've ever seen play football. Again, so some of the stuff he could do was ridiculous. But again, it probably comes down to that intrinsic motivation, how much he probably wanted it and stuff like that. But yeah, he was really good. And then the front three of Dwight Gale, Billy Sharp and Britt Sombalonga. With again a few honourable mentions to like Marcus Stewart and Grant McCann, who missed out, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, Harry Maguire. How come?
Again, he's another one. But again, this is where it's sort of hard, because how are you judging the players by? Am I judging by him on name alone?
Yeah.
Or am I going to judge him by people that...
It was early on in his career.
Yeah, he was early, and I was only with him for a season until he went up to Hull.
Could you see in him, like...
He saw he was a joke at times. I think he did one run in an FA Cup quarter-final or semi-final. I think we picked the ball up from a goalkeeper on the edge of our box and ended up on the edge of the opposition's box. And he was very good, and he was mature beyond his years. He was strong, and I know it makes me laugh because everyone was saying about him not being quick and stuff like that, which he's not slow. So I find it a bit harsh, to be fair, with him. Because again, for us, probably he played the centre of a back three, so maybe that changed his sort of deficiencies, people would say at times. But yeah, that's the reason why. Probably he missed out, because again, like I said, I probably didn't play with him long enough to appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a quality side. That is. Billy Sharp, he's got a big name there. Absolutely fantastic goal scorer. How good was he?
Again, I think your last word sums him up. And I know we spoke about Shearer being a proper ultimate finisher, a world class finisher. I think Billy Sharp probably your championship equivalent, really.
Yeah.
Anyone in and around the box you would want the ball go to would be him, and he would literally score. He was just so sharp, literally by name as well, where he was literally like touch finish. He was brilliant. He was deceptively really strong, and he was he was a very, very good, clever, good all-round footballer, to be fair. And I think that's why he's played at the top for so long as well, and even banged in a few goals, I think, in the Prem as well.
Every week you should see on Sky Sports, every week the reel come down, Billy Sharp. Billy Sharp, like, God, this guy's on fire. Why isn't he not playing for a higher level Premier League side, maybe? But
I think sometimes
he got it in the end, I know, but he was incredible.
Yeah, I think sometimes some of that is someone to take a chance on you a little bit, and also maybe some down to the player in terms of feeling comfortable in the environment he's in with the team, the manager. If he's got the trust of a manager and he's getting rewarded enough money-wise, he might not want to move because of any other reason. But I know he played for some really big clubs, like you say, Sheffield, Southampton, I think, Reading. Did he play for Reading as well?
Yeah.
And Scunny and stuff. And I think he's a testament to him is his fact he scored goals wherever he's gone. Yeah, he can't be that bad.
Yeah. Britt Sombalonga, a unit of a guy.
Yeah.
What was it like coming up against him in training?
Britt was the maddest thing. Weirdest. I've said this story a few times to people, because we literally had. I think it's when we sold Dwight actually, Gale, that summer to Crystal Palace, and then we played Watford in a pre-season friendly, and this kid was 18 up front, and he threw Gabby Zaquani on the floor in our first in game, and everyone was like, "Who the that kid?" No idea. No one knew everyone. Literally, the following week in training, he rocked up, and chairman had paid £1 million for him, and he was unbelievable. To be fair, he was raw as anything, but he was quick, he was strong, and more importantly, he was a lovely kid. Really nice lad. Yeah, and like I say, I'm so glad he's gone on to do what he's gone on to do. So he was good. Yeah, he was very good.
Scored some goals as well. I saw his name a lot.
Yeah, he scored. I think, what was he? Watford. I think he scored for quite a few, didn't he? Forest. That was it. Forest played well, and obviously for Peterborough, he scored numerous amount of goals. So
yeah. Did he go to Middlesbrough then as well?
I was going to say Middlesbrough. Yeah. Just going to touch on the goalkeeper, Alex McCarthy. Obviously, Southampton now up to the Premier League. Played some other keepers as well. Did a bit of research. Ramsdale, Begovic, I think.
That's one. Begovic, one completely forgot.
Yeah.
So and
youngster, I imagine.
Really bad, because he had come on loan when he was at Portsmouth. Again, that was one really early on in the career. I think Al again was another one that was early. I think that just coincided with the time of us probably doing a little bit better at the time and all. But we're very fortunate actually. Yeovil, again, it probably comes down to players that came to Yeovil at the time, which was probably a testament to then the manager, which was obviously Skivo and Russell Slade beforehand, that they managed to forge good relationships with clubs to get younger players in, knowing that they're going to come in and play. Because like you said, unfortunately in Yeovil, there's not a lot else for them to do to get distracted by. So they would come in to literally play. So now think of it, like you said, that Al's come in and done so well now to go back in the Prem. We obviously had Begovic. We had another lad, Stephen Henderson, that was really good. That's now Charlton's goalkeeping coach.
Okay.
I think so. He was really good. Chris Wheel as well, that went obviously to Leicester and all. So we've had several good keepers actually. In fairness, at Yeovil.
Yeah. Was you there when Yeovil was in the Championship?
No, literally that was the season before. Two seasons before I think I'd gone, because we went back when we did that, which was probably one of my proudest moments, actually, being voted in their team of the decade. We had to go back when they played Wigan in the Championship, and our whole team, everyone that was voted in, we did like a little presentation on the pitch at half time. So that was really nice, to be fair. Yeah, so it was good in a way. As much as Yeovil did well to get to the Championship, it was probably the worst thing that's happened to them as well in one respect.
Yeah.
There's a few other players in there to talk about. Stephen Corker obviously played in the Premier League, played for a few clubs around the area. Bristol
as well.
Played for Michael Cardiff.
Captain as well, I believe.
Captain, scored the goal against Swansea. Don't want to upset too many Swansea fans. We might be having a few Swansea players on the show, but a fantastic signing for Cardiff. He came in and he did really well. But there was a bit they finished bottom that year, but he played really well. And obviously he went on to play for QPR. He played for obviously Bristol City. He played for Yeovil. And then and he even got a random move to Liverpool as well and played striker for one game. What are your memories of him? And was he a big talker at centre back and organising the back four?
Again, no, he's probably slightly different to say him and like Hammer Gar, because I played with obviously both when they were young. I mean, Cork's come to us at Yeovil, I think he was 17, 18, and he was a man already. He was ridiculous. But no, he was quite unassuming really in terms of his play, but on the pitch, he was like a Rolls Royce. He never get flustered, really, very rarely, which was rare for a kid of that age and stuff. And we were fortunate we had him all from Tottenham, probably, which actually helped them probably, because we had John Abika come at the same time, Ryan Mason come at the same time, Andros Townsend come at the same time, and Corks all come together, all four. So it was quite nice that they all stuck together. And sort of now I think back to it, I think it's a bit mad that I was their captain and I had to look after him at the time. So
Brilliant.
So it's nuts.
There's obviously a bit of a connection with Spurs at the time then, was there? Or?
Yeah, I think that's what I said. I think fair play to Skivo at the time. I think he forged that link, and I think he managed to get me in. And again, talking about an ex-player in terms of when you talk about Swansea, we had Sean McDonald, which again, another one that I forgot.
I'm sure there's loads,
I think he was called the Welsh Sedan, the Ginger Pele, because he was unbelievable, to be fair. He was brilliant. So I think he was Skivo forging with Nathan Jones, who was his assistant at the time. They formed a really good relationship with a couple of clubs, I think, where we managed to get loan players in from a few places that were all younger, and that mixed with a little bit of experience meant we did all right more often than not. So we were fortunate, and like I say, from a personal experience now, looking back at it, I was very fortunate to play with a lot of them players. So I feel myself very lucky, really, because I've got probably no right to be on the same pitch as half of them. So there we go.
I wouldn't say that. You don't play yourself too much.
Team of the decade. I mean,
I mean,
better be lucky than good.
And Lee Tomlin, I got to ask you because I'm a Cardiff fan. So Lee Tomlin, obviously, I'd say he's a bit of like a championship legend. He's played for quite a few championship clubs. Maybe didn't, like you say, how much did he want to play Premier League? But he just sat natural silk on the ball. He seems like he could. He could turn a game at any moment. What was your kind of time playing with him at Peterborough?
I think when we spoke about it, alluded to earlier, in terms of match winners, I think that was arguably one of the best things you could say about him. I mean, to coin one of the things you talk about as a Swansea fan, Lee Trundle was sort of, and Tomo was probably the architectural opposite for Cardiff version of him. He was someone really, I think, that could have done anything he wanted to, really. I think, did he look after himself and all as best as he probably could have? That's up for him to say. But again, if he didn't, would he have been that good a player and do what he could do? I think the great thing we had at Peterborough, I mean, we ended up beating, I think when the years we got promoted to the Championship, we beat Ipswich, I think, on like the second day of the season. I think it was our first home game. And we beat them 7-1, I think, or 7-2, something like that. And he was unplayable. He was unbelievable. Him and Paul Taylor played up front together. And I think we were fortunate in the time with us at Peterborough. We all knew what he was about. So we had 8 or 9 others that could do a lot of the sort of...
the running around.
Running for him, that then you would allow then your other players, what you would call match winners and your sort of specialist players, that you'd let them do what they needed to do because you knew you could rely on them to do the opposite. And I think that's where sort of the manager at the time, which was Darren Ferguson, got that blend really, really, really good, to be fair, because I think he had a group of players that knew what they could do and what others could do, and it sort of worked quite cohesively and worked quite well, really, to be fair.
Okay, and you touched on managers, so who's the manager for that side?
To be fair, Darren Ferguson, I think I must have been alright, because I think he signed me 3 times, so I must have done alright for him, So I think lads used to reference me and Tommy Rowe actually as his like sort of surrogate sons, to be fair. A little bit like Harry Potter. I was the kid under the stairs that used to get bullied but liked probably deep down, and Rowe was always the favourite that got put on show to everyone. But for me he was fantastic. He gave me like the same opportunity in the Championship when I could have gone other place or whatever, but I think the allure of playing for him and sort of the name and own initially, but then after meeting him and working with him in terms of his due diligence to the game, his ideas and all that, he was second to none for me in terms of it. And I think the great thing about him, you always knew more often than not where you stood with him. Yes, he could fly off the handle and have a go at you, and you made you feel on edge. But he was brilliant, to be fair. He was brilliant, like I said. So I had him at Peterborough. I had Russell Slade, who was really good at Yeovil. Then obviously Terry Skivett ended up playing player to a manager at Yeovil. Then when we went to Sheffield, fortunate enough to play for Nigel Clough again. Another character in his own right. Good.
Another name,
massive name, exactly. Then Nigel Adkins come in after that, and then Chris Wilder obviously come in straight after that, and then I went to Cheltenham, and then Donny, again with Fergie again, signed me back at Donny for a bit, and then when I went to Cheltenham, I was lucky enough to work with Michael Duff, who's now got the Huddersfield job. But he actually taught me a lot in a real short space of time. I really hope he goes and I know he's managed Swansea and stuff like that, but I actually really hope he goes and does really well, because I thought he was really, really good at Cheltenham when I had him in. I was just a little bit gutted I had him at the back end of my career rather than a little bit sooner, maybe, because I think he would have done really good.
He didn't get I don't know, wasn't well received by the Swansea fans. They were used to playing a certain possession style play. It didn't really, his style of football didn't really take to him. What do you think went wrong there at Swansea?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much. I'm going to say I didn't see it. I didn't know too much about it. I was just more for him personally and stuff. I think whether personnel, the way, like you say, maybe he's already on the back foot if fans haven't taken to you straight away, because already you got your back up against the wall a little bit, haven't you? And stuff's probably over-analysed and over-dramatised if things are going bad. But I think sometimes it's like anything, isn't it? Sometimes your face just don't fit, or it doesn't. Your philosophy that's a buzzword in coaching, as they say now, just doesn't seem to fit with what is perceived by everyone else. So I think it's one of them. You could hopefully goes and does really well for Huddersfield. So you never know.
It's a big job as well, Huddersfield, big team. So maybe hopefully he'll have a good season next season, getting back into the Championship.
Yeah. Well, I know you're probably dying to ask. Go on.
What did you ever get? Did you ever get a hairdryer treatment off Ferguson?
that was the question in the car. Was all we know.
Only probably about 364 days in the 365 day a year. I think to be fair, probably we all got it at some stage. I think, to be fair, I think I probably did. I think I definitely got it. I remember once away at Burnley. I think I got it because I was horrific, to be fair. And he said to me, "What? You." So I did probably get it 1 or 2 times, in fairness, but
does it work? Again, do you back in line, or you give that extra 10%?
I think he did make you on edge, and he did like make you go serious. I'll never forget, we played one that we played Rotherham away, and they were top of the league at the time. I think we were second, and we ended up beating them. a 1-0 away and we played horrific. But we won 1-0 and we all come in like buzzing, celebrating, everything like he come in and smashed the tactics board everywhere and everyone was like flipping so on edge because like we were thinking, flipping out, we just beat top of the league, get buzzing, put us top, and he was raging because we had played so bad and everything like that. So that just showed how much he wanted to win and that not only just win but in a certain style and manner as well. So that sort of put this on edge. But yeah, I've definitely seen him give it out a few times as well, in fairness. But I think it's good. Like, he's good because it's not like he'd do it all the time because otherwise it loses its effect. So I think there are time and a place. Can't speak for him now in terms of he's mellowed anymore or anything like that now. But yeah, I'm sure he's probably still got the tendency to lose it every now and again. But I think it's important that a manager's still got that little sort of edge to him, I think.
And for your personality type as well, because we see it a lot, don't we, with some players, they need the arm around the shoulder, some players do need a rocket, and some you just kind of just give them a few words of encouragement. Did you respond well to that? Because some players, if you give them the rocket half time, they're like, oh, well, that's not the best way to get to them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about this actually on the way. I was thinking about that because I think I was probably one that, and I know this can come from people say about security in terms of your contract, but I felt if I knew what I was doing or if I was pretty settled, I normally would do all right because I knew for argument's sake, if you give me like a 10-year contract, I probably would have played better because I knew I wouldn't be panicking about my future or something like that in a way. So that's probably why every time, and this is probably one thing I've always done well in terms of more often than not, every club I've gone to, the first year I've done really well because I think I know that I'm covered for next year, so I feel a little bit more settled in myself. So I think that way, then in terms of a manager, I think they probably not so much an iron, but just gentle reminders. I think more because Fergie said to me like I used to frustrate the life out of him because he's like you could do so much more, and like I was always sort of whether that comes down to belief in myself or whatever, I don't know, but whether they saw so much more in me that for whatever reason I couldn't get out myself or just couldn't do, I don't know, or whether I wasn't good enough to do it, I don't know. And it's hit home to me maybe more now since I've finished that more and more people have said things to me, and I know you've alluded to sort of a few things messaging me before about, you could have gone here or could have done this, and I never knew anything about it at the time, so maybe if I had known that, I might have believed a little bit more about myself again, what we said about in terms of being after my debut, maybe thinking I can play or whatever, you think...
Sack the agent, maybe.
Hey, you never know. I think it's one of them though. If you're good enough, no matter who's in charge of you, you sort of do well enough. But yeah, maybe that he was sort of one that I probably frustrated him more than anything. So I did probably respond better to a little bit of a rocket, I think sometimes.
Right. Okay.
Because, like you say, I think you do need it, and probably my parents will probably tell you exactly the same. get too probably comfortable to only do the bare minimum. So I think that was sort of one thing now I know we're going slightly off topic, but now I've sort of finished, I always want to make sure I do more than what I sort of expected, irrelevant of what anyone else thinks or whatever. I want to do the best I can do because I know I should have done maybe more playing. So I want to make sure now I've finished, I'm doing that. And then, like I say, towards family and things like that, just doing as much as I can.
Yeah. Did you call him Fergie then? Because obviously,
boss, gaffer.
Okay.
Gaffer all the time. I still call him Gaffer now. Every time I speak to him, I'd still call him Gaffer now. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'd be too scared to call him anything else.
Was there any...
Dazza boy.
Yeah. I was expecting, maybe it was Daz or something. But was there any... Did he bounce around the place, Fergie? Yeah, Sir Alex at all?
Like I said, the first time I ever met Sir Alex, we were, fortunate enough that we trained at Man U's training ground a couple of times. Obviously,
brilliant.
We played up north. So if we played, I think we played Oldham, Stockport, Leeds or anyone like that, we'd travel up and we managed to stay there a little bit before. And I'll never forget, we all finished training one day on one of the first times actually we had gone up there, and all the boys were like waiting because we got told we can go into the canteen for lunch, so everyone was like stood on the outskirts waiting to go in, like didn't want to, like who's going first, no one, because no one wanted to be the first person. His head popped out, all right lads, you can come in here, and like it was obviously Sir Alex that's told us, and we were like, and no one still wanted to go first. Everyone was like, he's like, come on, don't be shy, get in. And then he used to be fair to him, he used to drive up on his golf buggy and come and watch training sometimes when we were up there as well and watch. So that always gave training a little bit of an extra edge on a Friday, especially before like a game, the gaffer raging that people are flying into each other and all. But it was
trying to get that Man United
just thinking. And weirdly, we had a couple of Man U players on loan at the time as well. We had like Ryan Tunnicliffe and Scott Wooten and Nicky Ajosi. We ended up siding. So. Yeah, they always carried a little bit, but added probably oomph in them training sessions when he was watching.
It's a nice contact to call on, isn't it? Yeah. No, Dad's can I use the training ground?
I didn't even think of that, in terms of contacts and players, obviously, as well. But when you train, so you train at the Man United.
Carrington,
Carrington.
Times,
Any sort of players were around at the time, or you sort of?
No, I think we were a bit more separate. I think, like I say, by the time we got up there, they were all probably pretty much gone. I think because we would get up there sort of mid-afternoon, train, do a little hour and a bit, and then that was it, sort of thing. So, yeah, that was often sort of the case, really.
I know the facilities as bad as what you hear they are. I know it was probably years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say I can only speak from the time we were there. It was arguably probably one of the better ones because it was it had been 2000, probably 6, 7 at that time, or whatever. So yeah, it would have been obviously really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can understand if things, and the thing is, like you say, we've spoken about before, technology and enhancement, things move so quickly nowadays. What you've put in now this week is old news next week. So things chop and change so quickly. I think by the sounds of it, obviously it may have been neglected by the sounds of it, or at least put on the back burner as things to do. So it might not be up to scratch of what everyone else is now. Because like you say, nowadays, the training ground, you got Tottenham's that's unbelievable. You got Arsenal's, which is not bad. You got Leicester's, which is incredible. Man City's is incredible, and then there's so many that are now building new ones and stuff. I know Stoke have just had like an application approved for a new 10 million or 12 million development stuff. I know. So there's Southampton's is really good and stuff. So I think that's probably more to the point where because someone else's has now got so good, everyone looks at that as what probably was the standard setter initially. It's now maybe fallen behind. So yeah, you could argue it might not be, but again, I can't speak for it without seeing it properly, sort of thing.
No, and
so if they want to invite me up there, I'm quite happy. At any point.
Yeah, definitely. And international wise, obviously, you didn't get any England caps, but was you able to?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Was you able to qualify for any other countries? Like you might have gone the Wales squad, maybe, or was there any kind of family links you could dig up?
I thought I could play for Finland, Iceland, opening, although judging by what they got, I was hoping I could play for anyone like that. But sadly, I was nothing. I was literally
straight.
I asked to play for the British Virgin Islands a couple of times, but yeah, that was about it. But no, sadly, it was completely British and English straight through, so I believe me, I looked at every opportunity to survive anything.
That's something you would have considered, maybe playing for like Northern Ireland or something, or Gibraltar.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Being as paid as I am, I would have been happily gone there to play for anyone if I could have. But yeah, no, I was never fortunate enough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, talking about the players, still you played against. Any you come across world class you played against?
Modric.
Just against Modric, did you?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah.
What year are we talking here?
What was he then? It was literally the year before. I think he went to Real Madrid.
Okay. So
again, if you say sort of world class, like again, probably is he world class? I would argue he's up there in the conversation again. I know it's easy. That's sort of a cop out way of saying it, but just some of the stuff he could do with football was ridiculous. Yeah, he was a joke. I mean, like if you can say through names and stuff. Again, I played probably against some of them at different points in their career. Like Gareth Bale played against when he had only just sort of started breaking through at Southampton and things like that.
Was he in the squad when you played Tottenham?
I think he had already. Was he already there? Well, no, he might have been injured. I'm not sure, but he didn't play in that one.
I think Bale might have went, and then Modric went the year after.
Yeah, it might have been crossover period, maybe. I don't know. So I couldn't say, but. Yeah, no, he was. Like I say, he was very, very good. Again, I was fortunate to play against a lot of very good players, and that probably made them look even better. So probably even better. So, but again, another one probably that stood out to me is when I first started. Actually, weirdly, was when I thought of when you talk about like when you realise what level you're at. As we played Portsmouth in a pre-season game once for Yeovil, and Pedro Mendes was playing centre mid, and I just kept being at right back, and I had flipping John Utaka and Defoe playing it like left wing and left side set striker, and he just kept pinging the ball over my head at the diagonal. I kept thinking, oh my goodness me.
Turn around.
The quickest thing ever. I'm like, oh God, I keep chasing after him. And then Sylvain Distin was playing left back, and he was the fastest thing ever, and about 8 foot tall as well.
Bit of a unit, isn't he?
But so he was good. And then like I played against Mane when he was at Southampton, and he was quick to say the least. But Van Persie was unbelievable as well, to be fair, for Arsenal when we played against them for Donny in the Carabao Cup at 1 year, and he was a joke, in fairness. So
what's it like when you, because you do see it a lot, especially for like other shorter right backs, is sometimes they just get tagged in and they just keep pinging the ball back.
I think to be fair. I think to be fair, I was probably, again, initially that was weirdly probably my best strength was heading and being able to jump. So like I probably got targeted initially, and then within a couple,
they found out. That's not good.
Got hit over the other side. Yeah, so it kind of killed me in a way because I was thinking I used to start a game off really well, and then I never got to edit again for quite a while. So so that was like I say, I think a lot of it just depended who you come up against. Sometimes again, some players. I personally used to find the hardest wingers to come up against the ones that were never like rapid, but the ones that could just quite tricky and jinking and out. Never like when played like again Portsmouth. Probably that's why it sticks out more was Cranshaw because you just kept drifting and chopping. Yeah. He probably
2 feet.
Give me probably 3 hernias in the game. I was flipping, kept chopping up and everything. Yeah. So
was he your toughest opponent you went up against? In your playing career.
Then I was really young when I started. Like I say, he was probably playing in about first gear. But in terms of probably personally playing against, I don't know. See, weirdly, we were lucky enough for us to play with him later on in life was James Coppinger for Donny. He was actually really good, and someone that I sort of didn't probably appreciate how good he was until I come up against him. I think Crouch probably surprised me the most in terms of
Crouch,
because everyone was like, "Oh, he's a big mate," but his touch and some of the play he could do was unbelievable.
Yeah, underrated with ball at his feet, right?
He was really good to be fair, I thought. But yeah, I mean, like you say.
Do you think there's some players who you think give them a chance, they could do it in the Premier League? I just never got that chance. Don't know why, but
yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say there's probably a few that probably could argue that they've been in that situation. Again, there's others that have got there that you probably think at the time you think he's not great, but yeah, he's got there and thrived and done really well. So yeah, I think, I mean, probably Cops could be one that you would say. In terms of he's not obviously the quickest, which maybe you could say physically that might have. So you could argue, and again, in terms of that, could he have been one that have played a little bit earlier in his career or earlier in life when the Premier League maybe had just started, when it probably wasn't as quick and as that sort of fast-paced game. Would he have played then in that sort of Gino Gaza sort of ilk and drift and glide past people? Would he have done it? Yeah, possibly and stuff. But again, I think like even conference now, League One, League Two, there's really, really good players. I think if you put them in the right team or put them in a Premier League team and someone's brave enough to give them a chance, I think some of them would do well at that level, personally. Yep. I think that's the biggest difference with like your league, say League Two, you've probably got 1 or 2 really, really good players that could stand out. League One, you've probably got 3 or 4. Championship, you've got 6 or 7. Then Premier League, you've got all 11 effectively that are of a decent standard. I think that's the biggest thing that sort of separates more often than not a lot of the clubs, if I'm honest.
As a defender, you go out on the pitch the first 10 minutes, do you know when you're going to have a comfortable day or when someone's going to cause you problems as an opponent?
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of that first sort of either pass, tackle. I always used to find personally the first test for me was being like your first race against someone, or if you could like keep up with them or flipping knowing you're going to get
hamstring goes
or anything like that. So that was always a difficult one. But then sometimes, like you say, you could play against people that you know are rapid, but they're all speedboat, no driver sort of thing. They could just go in one straight line. Got a clue where they're going to go.
A few like that, I bet.
Yeah. So and like I say, sometimes they were actually the easiest to play against because you knew you could just let them run down the line. You could keep up with them to a point and just stop them. It was the ones that could add a bit of a footballing brain as well as like the other side of it. So, but personally, I probably liked playing against them players more because I like the challenge. And like you say, I was fortunate enough playing in training every day, like against Boydie, Tomo, or someone like that. Again, Sheffield, Murph, and stuff. So I knew realistically to come against them on training, I wasn't going to get more often than not. The league we were playing in, I wasn't going to get too many better than what I was training against every day, if I'm honest. Yeah. So I was quite like lucky in that respect. And then when I did come up against anyone in the league that people would like target, I'd probably say I'd play better because then I knew I had something to, like when I talk about that inner motivation to, if you did a bit more, you did this, you could be better. And when I knew I was in them sort of games, I probably always did well. I remember one of the best games I probably had was against Crystal Palace, one of the last games of the season. We had Zaha played on one wing and who else did they have at the time? Can't even remember. They had 2 wingers. What's the name? Balassi.
Yeah,
on the other wing.
Yeah, Balassi.
And so you argue you like playing against them, thinking flipping it, but arguably we were one of the best games to play because you just know you've got to be on it for 90 minutes, 95 minutes. Yeah. So that probably goes down to your question in terms of who were the best winger. Probably Zaha, probably one of them, if I'm honest.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, that's my question. So.
Yeah. We're just going to start from your career now. So take us all back to when you first started coming through Yeovil. Obviously, you mentioned earlier that you was one of the last people to come through the academy. What was it like? You like you said, Russell Slade gave you your debut, but coming through Yeovil and how you kind of got into that youth setup and up to the point where you made your debut.
Yeah, well, I apologise now because I'll probably get all your listeners to turn off now. This boring bit. But no, I mean, for me personally, I signed for Yeovil, and in terms of, I say, their academy, we only used to train once a week on a Thursday night on the Astro, and Stu Housley, God rest his soul, was sort of a massive influence for that for me. But how I actually got started was because I was training and playing for Westlands on a Saturday and a Sunday, and one of my friends that I went to play with at Westlands, his brother was playing in Yeovil's youth team at the time, and just invited us to like almost an open sort of trial thing one game, and sort of said about it. And before I went, we weirdly played against the then Steve Thompson. His son was playing in the same Sunday league as me, and we played against him one day, and he just sort of said to go about going down to give it a shot, sort of thing. So weirdly, I went down as a striker. So I started off and did all right. Anyway, got in then to their under-18s team. Like I said, we trained once a week on a Thursday, and I was there for, I think, one season, was it? Or back end of a season, maybe just under. Yeah. Training on a Thursday, like I say, played games on a Saturday, Youth Alliance on a Saturday, and then was fortunate at the end of that season that me and two others got signed for first-year pros, because we didn't have like scholars or anything like that at that age. We got signed as first-year pros, and I made my debut right at the back end of that season at Gillingham away. Two of us managed to get on. Yeah. Which was good. And then it was only the following season when I really sort of broke in and played properly really after that. So I was 19, 20, I think, when I started.
It was 05-06 season.
I think it was when we got to the playoff final.
Yeah.
And lost to Blackpool, I think that was the one.
Yeah. What was it like? Obviously, you see it in photos, don't you? Youth Academy product come through, sign the contract. That must have been a really proud moment for you, just sitting down and signing those papers and thinking...
Yeah, don't think that big a deal was made of it at the time. Because like I said, I don't think Yeovil, we didn't really have, like I said, a proper academy in terms of that. So it wasn't probably a massive thing. I think...
Any photos taken or anything?
No, genuinely don't think I've got anything of it. Because I think I was
signing our T-shirt?
I was doing, because I was obviously at sixth form at the time. I was doing my A-levels. To be fair, I went to...
Playing cricket, probably?
Yeah, well, that's a good story about cricket in a minute. I'll tell you why I had to stop. Because... So like doing my A-levels at like Sexy School in Bruton, which is an interesting name, believe me. Now I didn't play it.
Still baffles me now, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just been baffled the amount of time people have told me, "Where did you go to school when a kid?"
Yeah, I know.
I did all my A-levels and finished in that, and then my mum, thankfully, God rest her soul, allowed me to sort of miss the odd Tuesday and stuff when I was still doing my A-levels, because Gary Johnson, the then manager, asked me to come in every now and again to play in a resi game on a Tuesday, which obviously we were Tuesday afternoons or Tuesday nights. So mum thankfully let me miss the odd Tuesday at sixth form or a Wednesday if I got back late from like the game on a Tuesday night. So so that was how it all sort of started. It was a bit of a whirlwind really, and like I said, because I never dreamed of playing professional football, because I just thought I was going to join the Marines. I'd signed up to join the Marines. I'd been to Lympstone, done like a Royal Marine Look at Life course, and done everything. I was literally all geared up to do that, and then somehow got...
Did you have to sign anything in the Marines, or was it...
No, literally, like I say, it was all getting ready to sort of do it and see what I wanted to do, really, because I couldn't do that until I finished my A-levels anyway.
Right, okay.
So, and then it was just at that point after I was fortunate enough that Russell Slade was mad enough to give me a contract to play football for some weird reason that I ended up doing that, really.
So you're obviously well thought of. I mean, Gary Johnson was pulling you in, he moved on, Russell Slade, same. So, clearly talent.
I don't know, something maybe, I don't know. Like I say, I just probably annoyed them by probably not trying hard. I don't know. But obviously, like I say, I think back now, I'm probably really... I know Gary Johnson's gone back in at Cheltenham, I think, as director of football now. So
is he? Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, obviously, I was probably gutted enough that I didn't really work for him properly or play under him properly, Gary Johnson, but he sort of got me started, per se, and then Russell Slade was one that carried that on, was the first one that really... I say give me a chance, but all of it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Stu Housley.
Yeah. So the cricket story then. Let's hear
that. So obviously, please know we played cricket all the time. I used to love to play cricket, and it was all right. Used to enjoy that, and then I used to still play on a Sunday. So for Wincanton,
Mid-Wessex League.
Yeah, the West we play, and weirdly, I think there was one game on the Sunday where we were struggling initially. I think we lost a couple of early wickets, and I ended coming up, and I ended up hitting 100. But in the paper, in the Blackpool Vale, wasn't it? I think that Skivell, when he was manager at the time, called me into his office on Monday and said, "What did you do? What were you doing at the weekend? What were you doing yesterday?" I said, "Oh, nothing. Just family went for like Sunday lunch." He went, "What else were you doing?" I went, "What do you mean?" I went, "Yeah, just that." He went, "Didn't play cricket or anything like that?" I went, "No." And he pulled out the Blackmore Vale and had my name in it. And I was like, "Oh," and he went, "Mate," he's like, "you can't be playing now." Like, and I'd played on the Saturday, and that's the thing. He said, "You're playing on the Saturday
and Sunday, wasn't it? Every week, yeah.
So I played football now on the Saturday for obviously Yeovil. Luckily at the time we were in League One in front of a few thousand people, whatever. And then I was playing cricket then the next day on the Sunday,
smashing boundaries on the Sunday.
And then he was obviously saying that people are going to started to know who you are a little bit, and bowl beamers at you or whatever, and you're going to get injured. And then obviously, not that we had sports science in them days, but physios would be like, "Don't be playing cricket." And so I basically got banned from playing cricket because I couldn't.
Wow.
Told. Yeah, so I got told on that Monday after that game, "Don't be playing again."
So Terry Skiverton.
So that was
ended your win can career. Okay.
Just told me to be sensible. Again, it comes back to what we were talking about, choices.
Yeah.
So I thought better of it, if I'm honest. But yeah, so
now you say, do I remember that? I remember you playing, obviously, but I don't remember. You just left. I think that's why I remember. I don't know why. Yeah,
that was why I couldn't come back to play. It was as simple as that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was literally the only reason why I wasn't allowed to play.
Probably to the day, maybe June.
Yeah, because I was wounded. I used to love playing. Because we play like evening league T20s basically. And you used to watch Leggy try and smash it miles.
Still doing that.
And you with your little M&H bat. You used to prod everything. Prod could barely reach the boundary. He used to go in at number 3 and use Meadows in.
Bagging me out now.
Waiting for ages. Just block and end out. Let Leggy go and smash it.
Exactly. Tactics.
So So no, like I say, it was brilliant fun. It was a good group of people that we played with. It was great crack. Yeah. So yeah, I used to love it, to be fair. So I was really fortunate at that. So yeah, that was why I stopped playing cricket.
Somerset as well, you mentioned you were under 14s.
Yeah, I think I was there I used to play with like Sam Spurway and Keyswetter and stuff like that. I used to play in the sort of around when I was playing and stuff. So yeah, but like I say, I loved cricket at the time, to be fair, playing that. And then when growing up in Cornwall, it was cricket and rugby. So there was no football. So I didn't even play football properly really growing up. So it was more, like I say, cricket and rugby and like playing for like counties and corners and all that sort of stuff and playing. So yeah, I used to love cricket, if I'm honest. So I'd love to start playing now. If we're finished, I want to try and start playing again, if I'm honest.
After you go follow your passion, haven't you?
Where are we? Sorry, I got consumed in that story then.
He was thinking about the T20, the World Cup that's on at the minute, isn't it?
That's just 20 years ago. He just left, and now I know why. So Yeovil. If Wikipedia's right, anyway. 121 games. Probably is wrong.
100 or something. I think I played over 100 for both Yeovil and Peterborough. I think Donny was close to it, but I don't think I got right there. No, I think Sheffield was 50 or something like that.
And made skipper as well.
That was like I say, that was my probably again. I know I've said about being in team deck one of my biggest achievement, but to be trusted with the captaincy and stuff, I loved it, if I'm honest. When Skivo gave it to me, and like I say, unfortunately, weirdly, the first game that he gave it me was Leeds away on a Tuesday night, and we ended up losing 4-1. I think Beckford scored a hat-trick.
Wow!
So but as an achievement, and then to be like I say that captain through that year, and obviously having players like obviously Corks and all that in there, and to be fair, the weirdest thing was the amount of times obviously playing with Skibber when he was player manager, playing alongside him, and then having to clean his boots and all after the game and stuff like that. So I was still doing that when I was playing with a lot of them. But
was you captain as well, or when you had to clean the boots? Or
I think I still was at the time, because I think I earned more money cleaning boots than I got by being paid. So I think that was why I used to clean about 8 players' boots. So I flipping again about the business thing. I flipping snuck in a few. I think I had Paul Terry's, Scotty Guyets, Nathan Jones, Skivos. So I've done all right, to be fair. I never can say Skivo told me when went back to Yeovil, and I forget, with Sheffield. Like when I went there, and this was probably after 10 years nearly after I'd left Yeovil, and I still had the same wash bag that Skivo gave me when I was at Yeovil for a Christmas present.
Brilliant.
So, because I'm that tight, that's why I ain't changing it. I kept it. So it was quality. So like you say, so I went from Yeovil, got bought by Peterborough, went to there, then bought again to Sheffield, and then left Sheffield, went on loan to Donny initially, then ended up signing for Donny permanent, then left Donny to originally, hopefully, was going to go to Luton, but then I think Jack Stacey and James Justin were both there at the time, and one of them, I think, failed a medical at Forest or West Brom or something like that, and ended up staying at Luton, so they both stayed, and then Jonesy couldn't sign me when he was the manager there, so then I ended up going to Cheltenham then after that, only there briefly, and then because I was last in, Nigel Attengana got injured for Cheltenham at the time, and they had to get a new centre mid in. So I had to leave, and as I left, Yeovil come straight in for me straight away. So thankfully, I then ended up at Yeovil and stayed there for 2 years. Yeah, and then I'd like I say was there during COVID, which was a mad one when we had playing in the conference. I had to live in the stadium basically, through COVID and all until we played in the So all the board and directors boxes were kitted out with bedrooms. So the boys, boys had to like live in there during the week. Then we'd go away after the weekend on the Saturday after the game. The whole stadium got cleaned down, everything like that. And then we were back on the Monday, tested, and lived back in the stadium for another week.
Mad.
Was there people in the stadium allowed like social distancing, that sort of thing, or was it empty?
Well, it was completely empty at the time, and everyone was like, say, tested before we got in, and then you were almost in your own bubble, like when you were in there, sort of thing. So yeah, everyone was like.
I bet that was rubbish. Was it?
It was fun, if I'm honest.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It was actually the lads were actually like, it was good crack. It was
Like
I say, you live. I mean, used to live with one of the lads like with Charlie Lee was there, Carl Dickinson, and you got really close together actually. And it was a really, again, probably another thing that I was a bit gutted that was so late on in my career, because you sort of got back into a changing room where like, everyone was good mates, everyone would want to do stuff together. And obviously, probably even more so because everyone was literally living with each other. So it was definitely an experience, to say the least. That was definitely something.
Yeah, we talked about your debut at Yeovil. What was your first goal like you scored?
Weirdly, I think my first goal was Swindon on Boxing Day. I think it was away. I think we won 4-2, I think, and I scored, I think, the first goal from a corner, header, weirdly, which was, it was... I still probably can't believe it actually went in, actually, to be honest. That's probably the reason why VAR was there, or goal line technology was there. I would have had another one, I think. So
a brace,
cut across the line. But yeah, no, it's an incredible feeling, like you say. I know I should have scored a lot more in my career, but I'll take the 3 or 4, I think it was, that I scored. So
all headers or?
No, I scored one. I ended up actually winning a Yeovil fan, I think a couple of grand, I think, in one game. We played Colchester. One of the last games of the season, I ended up scoring a left foot half volley.
Nice.
And he had me down as first goal scorer for some random reason. And I think he had 20 quid on it. So he must have either been drinking heavily before the game or something. But yeah, and I think I was like some ridiculous odds, and he ended up winning quite a bit of money, I think. So that was, So it was all right, to be fair.
A couple of games for Cheltenham as well, I think it did.
Yeah, went at Cheltenham. Again, that was when I come across Michael Duff and stuff like that. But that was, again, a bit sort of back in the... weirdly, again, when you talk about regrets in your career, I probably regret not signing for them earlier, really, if I'm honest, because Gary Johnson come into me for that summer as well, and I probably, again, waited or advised to wait for Luton or whatever. It didn't end up coming off, and then you sort of end up going, but back in a bit later. Because I always, again, this probably comes back, and this is a bit of advice that I could probably ever give to anyone in terms of stuff. It'd be like, go where you wanted, in terms of if someone, no matter the level, the manager, whatever, if someone wants you, it's more important to go where you wanted rather than try and go where you want to go. I think eventually that's why I picked Peterborough in my first move after Yeovil, because I could go on to Charlton at the same time, because Peterborough went with that, like really wanted me, invited me up there, and not that Charlton didn't want me to that level, but it just felt right when I went there. So I think that's a really important sort of thing to do, just act on gut and instinct and go where you feel like that feels home, really.
What is the playing difference between the divisions then? Is it different levels as you go up, much more difficult, or is it not much difference at all?
I think, weirdly, I think when I went to the Championship with Peterborough, especially that first year, it was one of the best years I've ever had in terms of playing, because probably felt too lucky to be there. Like you say, playing against all these players, stadiums that was in, and because I knew I had a job still for the next couple of years after it, I just could be normal and be me, and I just really enjoyed it. And I think, again, probably touched on what we said briefly about earlier, that you go through the leagues and there's 1 or 2 good players, then there's 3 or 4, then there's 5. And it's just consistency, I think, is one of the main things. And obviously nowadays, probably the level is probably the golfing class has got a little bit bigger, I would say, because of the money and stuff like that, which means obviously the top teams can afford better players and things like that. But I weirdly probably found the Championship easier than League 1 or 2, because it wasn't as crash bang wallop sort of thing, especially when we were playing at the time. Like, you actually got players, played it a little bit more, got it down on the floor. But they all had their challenges, and like you say, that's not to say some of the teams you played at League 1 or League 2 weren't bad teams, because equally some of them probably could have held their own against Championship teams, but it just might have been on their day in consistency.
Yeah, definitely. You talk about that like step up. You've seen it with Wrexham this season. They've done a double promotion from non-league league. There doesn't seem to be much gap between National League and League 2. When you get into League 1, then it seems like there's more of a jump from League 2 to League 1, and then also again from League One to the Championship, where when we spoke to ex-pros as well, they've said you get more time on the ball, especially Premier League level. You gave them more time again. What do you think it is that it's kind of because the National League, there's so many pro teams in there now, isn't it? That could potentially be, a fifth official pro division, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, I think the biggest difference more than anything is the moment you give the ball away in the Premier, you get punished straight away. You concede straight away. Whereas in Championship, you might get away with it once. League 1 or 2, you get away with it 3, 4, 5 times maybe. Whereas the top level, you don't get away with it. So I think that's probably straight away is the biggest difference. Is any mistake is again magnified and you get sort of punished even more so from it. But yeah, I think in terms of the teams that have kicked on, like you say, Wrexham and stuff like that, I might get shot down for this in terms of, but I think a lot of that is to do with money, if I'm honest, in terms of being able to get the better players. Don't get me wrong, the manager's done unbelievable with the players he's got because you can only deal with what you've got. But they've obviously got the power to bring in probably your better players at that sort of level. And then obviously it's another challenge to this. Why it baffles me though to slightly contradict that is everyone hammers Pep saying, he only does it with good teams. He's had the best players. Yeah, but you still got to coach them and still got to make them the best players in that level. So it's still, money helps, but then it's ultimately down to the manager and the players within it.
Yeah, definitely, because they obviously Phil Parkinson, and then they pretty much assembled a League One squad in the National League, and Paul Mullen, he scored in bags of goals, and they've just taken that straight through. Yeah,
I think so, and I think a lot of that though comes down to what we spoke about again before, the players feeling comfortable in their environment, because again, Paul Mullen, whatever, relevant if you've been bought for, I don't know, whatever he's been bought for and the money he's on is irrelevant, because if he feels at home and feels comfortable, he's going to play the best of his football, he's play the best of his ability. So as much as people can say, but he's bought for this, he's bought for that, but if he doesn't feel happy in his place, how many players have you seen Lukaku going to Chelsea for 100 million, he's bought for that, doesn't mean he's the best player, is it? So I think, again, that has a massive impact in terms of how comfortable a player feels and going somewhere, like you said, that he feels valued and feels wanted.
Yeah. Well, that leads nicely into our next question, transfers. You had a few in your career. First of all, let's talk about your move from Yeovil. It must have been a bit of a wrench to leave your hometown club to go to Peterborough. But obviously, on the flip side, it's obviously a big opportunity.
Yeah, I think as a wrench, if I'm brutally honest, well, it sounded horrible. It wasn't, because I think
was it not? No?
I was happy to go away and test myself, because I think I was in a situation, again, which probably comes down to where I was comfortable, if I'm honest, and I knew I needed to get out of there and stuff, and I wasn't, and because my old man was in the Navy and used to travelling around and stuff, that side of it didn't really bother me as much, and I'd already moved out of house at a younger age, so I wasn't like I was dependent on mum and dad and things like that. So, but no, I think it all tied in well, because Peterborough were in the Championship at the time, so like, the opportunity there naturally it made it quite easy in that respect, I think. And like I say, Yeovil was brilliant for me in terms of getting the opportunity, starting and knowing what football was like, and then getting that opportunity then to move to Peterborough was another level again, meeting like Barry Fry and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
what's Barry Fry like? Have you got any good stories about Barry Fry? Because he's a bit of a football character, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a character. His ringtone on his phone's Match of the Day. Or it was anyway. I don't know if it still is. But yeah, I remember the first time I actually met him was when he was telling me when I first wanted to sign. He goes, "You do realise that you're Craig, well, not Craig Michael-Smith, because how much money you're asking for, or this, that, and the other." And I'm thinking,
no way.
Heck? Yeah, I was like, I'm barely asking for anything here, but that's just Barry in terms of negotiating skills. Yeah. And then when eventually it all got sorted anyway, I managed flying out to Portugal to meet the team on a pre-season training camp. And when I first went and met him, he was sat in his speed at shorts and flip-flops, top off, just walking around the football training pitch with his top off. Yeah, he was a great human being, though, to be fair. He was like, he's a business person first and foremost, so you've got to appreciate that side of it. Take all the business side away from it, him as a person, he was brilliant. Yeah, he was a character, to say the least.
So have you had representatives through your whole career dealing with stuff like this?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. I had the same one literally for my whole career. Yeah. I still speak to him now, to be fair to him.
Okay.
So he sort of all looked after all that side of it and things like that. But
fascinating, I bet, like the whole agent stuff,
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really get too much involved in that. Again, that's probably rightly or wrongly, I didn't really.
Because complete trust then in that.
Yeah, I think, you do. And again, likewise, though, from the agent, in terms of when I said, I didn't know about a lot of things that maybe I've only now found out after. He may have, because it wasn't 100% definite, or it wasn't like definitely going to happen, he probably didn't tell me or whatever, which is his prerogative. And like you say, that's fair enough. But equally, a lot of it sometimes he might not have known, because again, being in football now from the other side, you hear a lot of stuff that people are going back channels trying to find things out or do stuff. So, and a lot of it sometimes is Chinese whispers through just players saying stuff. So you never know what to believe. At the end of the day, what's true, well, I don't believe anything in football until it's signed on the dotted line. You can say whatever you want until it's sort of all done and dusted. So,
you do get a lot of agents as well putting rumours in the papers just to make other clubs aware. It's like, he's available, is he?
There's probably so many games that get played and this, that and the other, and they're probably all guilty of it. Clubs and agents, players as well. And no one's clean in it, I don't think, personally. But unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast, and it is what it is. But I think you always have to sort of have your guard up at all times. You've got to make sure, first and foremost, you're looking after yourself and your family.
Yeah. You transferred from Peterborough to Sheffield United. Obviously, Sheffield United was in League One at the time. Peterborough was in League One, went to the Championship, and then you
back down.
Back down. You almost got back into the Championship again. What was your decision behind like the sideways move, if you like, where they're both in the same division, but obviously Sheffield United probably historically a bigger club. Was it down to that, or was it
probably being a big club? To be fair, I wasn't even planning on going to Sheffield initially. I thought I was going to go to Aberdeen initially.
Oh wow,
in Scotland.
Bit of change.
Yeah, so there was you never know things in football. There was a talk of potentially going to America. It was going to Aberdeen. There was then going to, I know I said to Steve about Leeds was mentioned and stuff, which I know the Peterborough chairman had said or what have you. But ultimately, I ended up staying and going to Sheffield just because it comes down to, I suppose, being wanted at the time, whatever, Nigel Clough, and it was a big pull. And Darren Ferguson, I don't know if he left Peterborough that summer or not, I think. So I think that probably had a lot to do with it as well, that he wasn't staying himself. And like I say, over time now, I feel it's probably just run its course maybe at that point, and just again a change of scenery, and to be fair, if I'm honest, the opportunity from my personal point of view, the opportunity to go up north and go and play for Sheffield United was like wow. So like wow,
big club,
so,
Bramall Lane
huge,
as well,
huge,
massive.
Did you
feel the kind of
So like one of the first games, like I say, we played Bristol City on the Sky. The first game of the season, there was 24,000 or something. We played on a Tuesday night against Rochdale. I think there was like 22,000 or whatever. So it's ridiculous. So the size of the club was brilliant. It was, and to live up north as well, I think was probably another thing that I wanted.
You moved up there,
Move up there, So it was good, and me and my wife, we ended up moving up there. So I think it had a lot of factors why I sort of went as well. And like I say, don't get me wrong, the money was obviously better as well because they were a bigger club. But yeah, all of it encompassing. I genuinely felt they were in a better place maybe to go up. So that was part of probably the reason why I wanted.
Well, you had a good cup run that year, got to the semi-final. Lost 5-3 to Hull, a mad game.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So we got the semi-final of that, and then the year after we got to the semi-final of the Carling Cup when we whatever it's called, I can't remember, Carabao Cup now it's called, but that was when we played obviously Tottenham over 2 legs. So we had a couple of really good years there and stuff. So it was whirlwind. Like I say, that's when we beat West Ham in like the cup as well before on penalties. So that was probably as good a move for me as it was bad, if I'm honest. I think.
Right.
How old are you around that?
26.
Okay.
25, 26.
Peak coming in,
You would argue, I think. I think if anything, it taught me the most about me in terms of being a person and stuff. Because I think, if I'm brutally honest, it swallowed me up, and I think I got killed by it, if I'm honest, the second time, especially towards the sort of back end of the first season, the second season. I mean, we signed John Brayford as well, who's come in, which probably the worst, best thing that happened to me, if I'm honest, because on the flip side, it took £2 million to replace me, so I thought that's unpositive. But it meant basically, Nigel Clough told me I was never going to play again while he was here,
right?
Irrelevant of what I did, and I had the opportunity, annoyingly, to go to Bristol City, who were top at the time, and I wasn't allowed to go because they were doing better than Sheffield. So he said, I can't let you go to a team above us, because I was that look. The only other one I could have gone to was Peterborough, back on loan.
Blame me then, that's what I'm about to say.
But unfortunately he was saying you ain't going to play. Then he wouldn't let me go to Peterborough on loan because they were in the playoffs. So I wasn't allowed to go there. He said, but you can go to Leighton Orient if you want. And they were under that mad ownership where they were bottom of the league, really struggling. I was like, with all due respect, I don't want to go there.
Jeez.
So I ended up just staying and not doing anything, not playing again really much at all then until literally the playoffs. And then we played Swindon. I think that game's been on Sky enough times where that was like one of my first games in months. So again, that just shows how difficult it can be as a footballer when you're sort of training all week, Monday to Friday, with knowing I'm never going to play on a Saturday. I was just going to sit on the bench every week. So I knew I wasn't going to do anything.
I mean, that feeling must be. I mean, I've had it on a Saturday afternoon. You know, you know you're not going to play.
Yeah.
You know you're just going to turn up, sit on the bench. How do they deliver that message to you to start with? Is it verbally in a 1-to-1 or?
Well, yeah, like I said, when he got told me he was going to sign Bray, like he basically told me I wasn't going to play anymore. So fair play to him in terms of the honesty. At least he got up front straight away. Whether I liked it or not was irrelevant.
Yeah.
At least I could respect where he was coming from.
Yeah. But that's crushing.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's where I lost then all enjoyment really out of football, probably in terms of being there at that point. And if I'm honest, I probably was never the same again after that, even through the whole rest of my career, I think, because it knocked me probably that much to a degree. Yes, look, I don't know, I still played well at times and whatever, went to Donny and did well again. But I think in terms of a person, that was probably my first real eye-opener of what football could be like. And the other side of football, I went through Yeovil, which was a very close-knit community club, tight, everyone got on really well. Like you say, Peterborough was very much the same, was probably the lowest budget in the Championship at the time when we were there. Everyone, again, real close-knit, always went out together a lot. Went to Sheffield, probably wasn't as close-knit, and that was probably the biggest eye-opener for myself, where obviously the wages were completely different there, with some players on ridiculous, others on not. And it was probably the first time I saw the other side of football where I thought, this is like, sometimes it's dog eat dog, it's out for yourself sort of a little thing, right? If people getting blamed, no, it's his fault. I'm not used to that. Normally it's a bit of, no, it's his, or it's his. And
more of a club together.
Yeah, so I think, and again, that probably showed me then the size of Sheffield as a club as well, and how passionate the people were in the town, in the city about it and stuff. But yeah, so like I say, in sort of a weird way to answer that, in terms of it showed me a lot, it taught me a lot about growing up basically, and being a man and seeing things through a different prism than probably what I was used to before. Yeah,
so maybe that speaks to obviously why you've got so much respect for Darren Ferguson. He came and rescued you from Sheffield United and brought you into Doncaster Rovers. Like obviously you played with some great players there as well. What was your thoughts in time? And it's close by as well, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't have to move house again. It was mad, because obviously that was when Chris Wilder was just come in as well. So it was all a bit different. But I think even when he had come in, like, as much as I would have liked to work with Chris Wilder more than what the job shoot, I think my mind was already made up. I'd checked out because of what had happened previous. And I know even Nigel Adkins had come in after, and I played a bit more under Nigel Adkins again. But I think I was, like I say, in the situation where Fergie come, I knew it was familiar. I knew he wanted me, and I went to Donny. And if I'm honest, it was, again, it made me love football again. I went there, and much as the team, we didn't do great initially, because I think we got relegated that first year. Back to League Two. But then again, we bounced straight back. But in terms of made me love football again, in terms of that camaraderie, it was a good, close-knit group. A lot of players that I played with previous. Rowie was there. Andy Williams, my best friend in football at the minute, I still speak to this day, and Rowie, obviously. But like, they were at Donny, had some really, really good close friends. Mrs. got on well with everyone and stuff like that. And weirdly, it was just a nice place to be. Like, the staff
important, that sort of stuff as well, isn't it? Yeah.
And it was just, again, probably when I talk about like being at home or felt like I was in the right place, it just felt it. And like I said, I didn't have to move house, which was nice. It was 20 minutes the other way this time driving, so that was good. And I had probably beside my first probably 2 years at Peterborough, it was the 4 best years probably of football I had done. Really, I really, really enjoyed myself at Donny. Really enjoyed myself, and if it wasn't for the fact of Mrs. being pregnant and having a little one on the way, we probably would have possibly stayed up north. I think if it wasn't for that we moved back down south. Yep.
Did you get Player of the Season that year, Doncaster?
Yeah,
is that right?
I think that's one of my biggest achievements. I think in every except Sheffield, all the clubs I've been at, I've had Player of the Year at least once.
Was that a bit unfortunate though? Because obviously one hand you Player of the Year, and then you finish 4th bottom.
But the only saving grace from us, at least I come in on loan at that point. I was a bit later in. But
it must be nice though. Like obviously having all that, like just kind of being binned at Sheffield United, told you're never going to play. So no matter, you go into training every day, you know it's not going to make a difference, and then you come in, like, actually, this is what I can do. I'm Player of the Year. You did get relegated, but bounced back. But still, it must be a bit of a validation of, I can play at League One level.
I was more scared of letting Fergie down, if I'm honest. So I was thinking at least he would
saw the hairdryer again.
Yeah, at least he wouldn't be able to flip and say, "Oh, why have I signed him? He did crap for me or whatever." But no, obviously from that side of it, you sort of do. Again, I learned to grow up a little bit and probably looked after myself a little bit better and more and stuff like that, and wanted to pay probably more than anything, probably repay his faith in helping me. To be fair, because like you said, he got me out of a situation where I was actually felt I owed him, and that was probably the bit of motivation that I needed to get to that situation. That at least, all right, unfortunately we didn't do what he did. However, then the flip side of that, the following year, like you said, at least we got ourselves back up and did well again. So albeit where we shouldn't have been in the first place, but it was nice. And like you say, it was just being around people that you enjoyed being around and you enjoyed going to training every day. You knew you were all working for the same goal and stuff like that. It was just a good time in my life, to be fair. I'm honest.
Yeah. When you say looked after yourself a bit better, what are you kind of referring to there? Do you mean diet?
I think a bit of everything, to be fair.
Yeah.
Even from like a mental state and stuff like that. I think I was growing up. Like I had a missus at that point as well.
Lots
so
going on.
It wasn't just myself. It was in a way, it was probably a good distraction as well. So when I was back into Peterborough, I got injured quite badly and then got injured again at Sheffield, unfortunately. And like you say, you probably go into a bit of a dark place. I'm not one to be shy to admit I went through some real bad times, still have done since. But again, it's just about trying to probably take ownership of where you are and what you're doing and stuff. And as much as I still probably got kicked by him in terms of annoyed that I wouldn't push myself enough, I probably did it a bit more again. I got back to probably what I was like as a kid, a little bit more of playing and stuff. And like I say, when you say look after yourself, I probably tried that a little bit harder. I did that a little bit more in the gym and made sure if I played crap, it was because I played crap, not because I wasn't looking after myself to be in the best condition to play. I think that was probably the best.
Yeah.
Well, again, Player of the Season award is a recognition as well, and you put the effort in as well.
Yeah, well, either that or they just didn't have very many to choose from, I think. It's probably more to the point.
Great. Cheltenham then as well. You moved there, made 8 appearances. It seems on paper it didn't work out as what you wanted. And then was you released at that point? And then
so what happened with Cheltenham was because I went in really late at the back end of the season because, like I said, I could have gone there initially at the start of the season, but went into Luton, did all pre-season at Luton, and was hoping then for one of James Justin or Jack Stacey to get a move that didn't materialise, and then weirdly they both went the following season. So obviously James Justin went to Leicester, and the other one went to Bournemouth. So that didn't happen. So obviously then I was in the situation where I was basically had no club. So I went into Cheltenham then literally at the start, just after the start of the season. It was a few weeks after the season already started.
Right,
so I went in then when obviously the manager pretty much all had his team set out. So automatically straight away you're back up against it. You had to go in. Luckily got in, done pretty well straight away. Then my hamstring went, and then Michael Duff come in. And then, like I said, as I was getting back to fitness, that Nigel Atangana got injured in midfield. It was out for the rest of the season. Wow. And they had to get in a new loan to come in and play midfield that they needed. And he just said, look, because you were the last in, we need to get a new one in. Yeovil will take you. So literally got moved on to Yeovil straight away. So it kind of all fell in line, if that makes sense. That literally just left Cheltenham and went straight down to Yeovil. So it was back home.
So when you say last in, is that like there's a little break clause in a contract when you first sign? Is there like a little?
No, I think it was just more importantly because my contract was only a short term one anyway. Because I was like last in the door when in terms I was the last signing of that thing because I was a free transfer because I signed after the window had shut effectively because I was a free agent. So I was just an added cost basically to them and said because I was only on like a short term deal, mine was the cheapest to pay up and get rid of basically, so that they could then go and get cover for midfield. And he just said, look, you can go what you want. And I literally spoke to Yeovil luckily a few before and said, yeah, we'll take you. So I literally went, all right, I'll fine, no hard feelings. It was all amicable, nothing bad. I was gutted to leave actually, because like I said, that short space of time I had working with Michael Duff left a real lasting impression on me to the point where I've took a lot of what he did and thought a process behind stuff into like my coaching now sort of thing. So then I just ended up then going into Yeovil off the back of that.
Oh yeah, great stuff. And then return to Yeovil, obviously 21 appearances there. What was it like going back? I think a lot of players do it. They start their career somewhere and then they finish their career Was it nice to go back and to the fans and how was that for you?
So again, it's probably the best but worst decision you can make in a way, because it was like, flip, you don't want them to think, because when I was here before I was actually all right, so I don't want them to think how far I've fallen and how crap I really am. So it was like that side of it. But then the flip side, you think, it's nice to go back to familiar and still see some of the same people. I mean, everything off the pitch side of it was brilliant. To see all familiar faces again, stuff, some of the staff, fans, stuff around it was great. The only thing for me is family-wise, everything, I'd moved away from there now, so I had to go back and sort of end up staying with my old man, because he still lived there at the time, but my family was obviously back where we are at the minute in Oxfordshire, sort of thing, in Buckinghamshire, sorry. So it was difficult in that side of it, being away from home for so much, and obviously having a little, and at that point, it just made it was just all difficult, really, the whole thing sort of. Again, that's probably what. Then obviously it was in the year when COVID happened and everything like that, so the season was all up in the air. I got injured again, which was nice. Probably all that driving didn't do me any favours. And I think that was the point where when I started doing that and the distances I was going and stuff, it literally made me think, I'd call it a day now. I'm done now. That was, and then when I spoke to the owner at the time, and he sort of spoke to me after he got relegated to the conference, he sort of said to me about wanting me to coach, and so that was when I sort of more started thinking that and thought, football's done for me now in terms of that. So I want to go and concentrate on the other side of it. I was fortunate enough, even when I left Yeovil, I had a couple of offers to go back into the league at some other teams and stuff, which was, in a way, was nice. But at the same time, I think I had to think of family.
Different priorities.
And I was just in a situation where, like, again, I'd love my time in football, but if someone wants me to go and do something, I was trying to heed my own advice and go and do something that I was wanted. So originally the plan was to go and, like I say, coaching at Yeovil and go and coach with their under 18s, even though obviously I was living further away. But then he ended up obviously selling Yeovil, so that changed, and then it meant, in a way, in the nicest possible way, I wasn't owing to Yeovil as such, because I felt I was owing more to the owner at the time, really. And obviously when he sold and left, I didn't feel as guilty, so that ended up, then that was why I moved up, and then ended up going to Harlow and playing a bit of non-league and coaching at Tottenham.
Yeah, brilliant.
It was.
Well, there must be something about that drive down, right? Because Beckford did a U-turn on the motorway.
There you go. So,
because originally he was supposed to be joining Yeovil, but and then your time at Harlow, then obviously you played 38 games, 6 goals. That's what we got here. It might be a bit more, I don't know. But you said you might have scored 10 goals for Harlow.
You must be playing striker then, were you?
I was right. I was adventurous there. It probably says more about the level than my ability, if I'm honest. But I was on penalties there a couple as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Nice.
They probably not recorded, but
But again, that come about just purely because my agent at the time that looked after me, he had a staying part in Harlow and just said, do you want to just come and play? And like I said, just love playing really more than anything. Just enjoy playing. And thankfully, was fit and flying and enjoying playing actually again. But it meant I could do coaching and do all that stuff side of it. So I know when you share about agent, you got to look up. But in fair to him, when I then finished playing, he was brilliant with me. Like I said, got me into that, helped me then with my coaching. And like I say, I still speak to him now. I'm great friends with him now. And he sort of helped me on my path of coaching. Obviously, I don't play for Harlow anymore because it's a little bit of a far of a drive for me to go to Harlow from where I am here. But it sort of, again, got me sort of a bit of experience in coaching and sort of started me off on that path, really. Yeah. Again, which was a path I didn't expect to go in, because I thought I was going to join the police after I finished playing football. So that was another thing of what I was going to go and do.
So you mentioned Tottenham.
Yeah, so I coached so when I finished, I was playing part-time for Harlow in the evenings. Yeah. And then I was coaching for Tottenham in their like GFD, Global Football Development part, which is part of their like college program, basically. So, which was actually, for me personally, was really good because I'd obviously gone through, not college, but sixth form. So I was sort of the same age as these kids when they were playing, and they were sort of balancing school and playing within their sort of college and stuff. So that was a good like little taster of coaching. And then alongside that, went in at Peterborough to do their under 15, 16s with Clarkey, who's now coach of Wimbledon's under 18s. So I got back into Peterborough to coach with Kieran Scarf as the academy manager at the time, who's now assistant actually to Fergie. Weirdly, got me into coaching at Peterborough, so I did a bit there. Again, drive was getting a little bit more until I got offered then the full-time role at Luton to go into coaching there, which, again, when I come back to when I say about going somewhere I wanted, Paul Hart wrote me up and asked me to go in there, and I couldn't believe my luck, so I just jumped it and went, So that was it, really, and then that was probably the worst decision they've ever made, but the best decision I've ever made.
Sounds like a great opportunity, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
like I was saying, I was fortunate, again, probably whether it had anything to do with Nath Jones maybe not signing me at the time with the player, but again, nothing through his fault. But then whether he had a hand in me going in as coaching or what, I don't know. But Paul Hart, obviously, again, don't want to contradict in terms of you want to always be given the opportunity, but you want to earn the opportunity. Whether I've done that, but hopefully I've earned the opportunity since I've been there and done all right. But like you said, to go and work with Paul Hart and all that, and like Paul Benson that's there, and like Alex Law's there, Alan McCormack's and their coaching staff, and all these players.
Eunice Cabal there, is that right?
Eunice was there for last year. So again, Eunice was there coaching. So again, the opportunity to go in and around them type of people was incredible. And obviously, like I say, the manager now that's come in, who's done brilliant. Again, just made me, when you find out stuff after playing, Paul Trollope's obviously his assistant in there, and he's just decided to tell me a few times, I tried to sign you about 3 times when you were at Yeovil. I was like, what? He went, I tried to sign you at Cardiff, Norwich and Bristol Rovers. I was like, flipping it, I never knew about any of it. But that's just it.
Funny old world, eh?
Funny old, again, he might have just been trying to be nice, I think, more importantly. But
no, I'm sure, probably wanted you in there. Obviously, you mentioned about your transfers, and you mentioned Nathan Jones. He did fantastic at Luton. Didn't quite work out for him at Southampton when he had his big Premier League break. What do you think he got? And he got absolutely battered in the media as well, unfairly, I might add. Why do you think it didn't work at Southampton, but it worked at Luton? Is it that kind of like what happened with yourself? He was fine at maybe a smaller club, but a shoestring budget. When it comes to having to, try and get Southampton out of dire situation, and it was heavily scrutinised. What do you think of what happened there?
Again, without being part of it, you probably don't know the full intricacies of the ins and outs, and what he may have been promised one thing, it may have not been what it has. But again, it probably goes back to what you said about Michael Duff as well a little bit, that for whatever reason, your methods, again, probably the bit that went against Nath in terms of his thing from Luton, he'd gone with players that he'd worked with and got them up that were all bought into what he wanted to do, all would come from nothing themselves, probably really had been on that journey. He'd now walked into a dressing room with players that were all millionaires. Their motivation might have been different. His way of motivating might have been different. I don't know, I'm just hypothesising here in terms of how it might have been, but to get that buy-in straight away from players is difficult. And he might have got it from some of them, but again, unfortunately, if you've got a few that go against you or whatever, it's probably a lot harder to get right with more of them, and with players that have maybe got a bit more of an ego, or depending what their sort of motivation is a little bit. But yeah, again, I think it comes down to if your face fits or what you're trying to instill in people. I don't think he was given necessarily long enough, because it's obviously difficult as well when you've come in partway through the season. You haven't had a proper pre-season, all that type of stuff. Did he help himself? I don't know. He'd be able to answer that better than anyone. However, would it possibly, is that actually made him maybe a better manager now for that experience? Yeah. Time will tell. We'll see how he gets Charlton. I mean, if he gets Charlton up this year, which fingers crossed, touch wood, he does from their point of view, and for him, everyone can say that's a great decision for him, because he might now kick on again. Because I know he went to Stoke as well, and it didn't quite work out again. So you could argue, is it to do with that bigger club or what people perceive? But I think a lot of it just goes down to the players you've got, and if they buy into what you're trying to do, and like you said, maybe fans, whatever. It's whether they take to them straight away or not. That's
it, isn't it? Because you might get the buy-in from the 11 starting. You're still the rest of the players, and when you got in the Premier League, you've got bigger squads. How do you manage those players who are not playing? Yeah. And like you say, they're all millionaires as well. They can soon start kicking up a fuss and
like
stuff.
You don't know, and unfortunately, it's one of them. Everyone's got different motivations. You're never like Gareth Southgate's got. You're never going to appease everyone. Not everyone 100% of the time is going to agree with you 100%. So you know you're going to upset some. I think if you're doing all right in life, you upset the minority, not the majority. So I think that's always try and judge well if you're doing all right or not.
Yeah, it's a good marker, I guess. So moving on to your personal achievements. So played Premier League clubs in some good cup runs. Trophy at Peterborough.
Yeah, Johnson's Paint.
Yeah, we talked about the player of the season as well. Yeah. Just what do you remember about your career in terms of the highlights?
Again, I think probably, like I say, playing at Wembley, winning at Wembley is probably one massive achievement. Obviously being involved at Wembley again from the other side of the playoffs, losing with Yeovil, but being there, part of it. Like I said, being on cup runs, getting to the semi-finals of FA Cup, semi-final of League Cup. Like I said, fortunate enough to win Player of the Season at all the clubs, barring obviously Cheltenham and Sheffield as such. But doing that. Was a team of the decade at Yeovil was probably one of the biggest achievements. Again, I think thankfully they were probably slim pickings for right back, so that would have been all right. But yeah, I think I look back at it and did I make mistakes? Yes. Did I do things that I probably would do differently now? Yes. But has it shaped me hopefully to be better now on the flip side of it? Yeah. So in terms of my biggest achievement probably out of all of it is doing what probably every other person in the country wanted to maybe do. And I will always be grateful for that, however long it lasted, whether it was 1 game or 400 games. It's like that's probably my biggest achievement, that I actually managed to make a career for myself, whether it was as good or as bad as I wanted it to be. I did something. So I think that's the biggest achievement of the lot.
So how many appearances did you have and goals exact? It's hard to get that on the internet.
I was going to say, I think from what someone had said to me, I think I played about 412 or something like that in terms of league games and 4 goals. And then obviously I had 30 odd for Harlow after, but I can't really claim them as league.
Doubled your goal tally,
But again, like I say, whether that's right or wrong, I'm sure someone out there probably knows the definitive numbers or whatever.
I bet there is. If you know, drop a comment.
I'm sure if you've got that much time to waste in that board, you ain't going to be one of the far more interesting people we can do it around. But yeah, no, I think for whatever reason, like I say, the most important thing now is I'll try and make a difference the other side of playing and just enjoy, hopefully pass on the experience, good, bad and ugly, from what I've learned through playing and stuff, and I think try and be as authentic as possible, really, and then help the lads that are coming through now. But appreciate the game's changed an awful lot since we were playing.
Any sort of standout moments off the pitch through your football career that you remember? Anything etched in the memory from like a manager or a training session?
Bust up, yeah.
I remember. I remember some funny session. In terms of sessions, used to make me laugh all the time. Is when we at Yeovil, especially at Yeovil, when the goalkeeper coach always used to set up all the balls neat in a stack. And Gav Williams every morning used to run around the training ground first and smash them everywhere. So he can let's go and pick them all up.
It's a bit of an OCD, was it?
Yeah, I think he used to literally stack them so he was ready for the session. And Gav always used to run out a little bit earlier and look around, see where he was, and go and smash them everywhere so he could kick them in. And he had done, to be fair, he had done some funny. While I'm on the subject of him, he'd done some of the funniest things I've ever seen in football. I think he's we went paintballing one weekend, and on one Wednesday, and he managed to sneak a smoke grenade back from going paintballing. So and this was weird. I was in the manager's office talking together as well on a Monday. And we were talking about something, and all of a sudden we've heard all this commotion, and looking down the corridor, and what Gav had done, he'd locked about 5 players in the treatment room and chucked the smoke grenade in and shut the door in there. And all you can see is the smoke coming out from underneath the treatment room, and everyone coming out coughing. And so he had done that. He'd done one when he'd left the bath running one time when everyone had gone out training, and the bath had flooded the whole
deliberately.
No, he just forgot.
Oh, he forgot.
Just completely forgot. Flooded the whole change room and everything. He'd done another one when it was snowing. I think it was Steve Milner, our goalkeeper, had gone out training, and Gav was injured. And he's nicked the keys to his car, and he's gone and built a snowman in the passenger seat of his car.
He doesn't like goalkeepers in this guy, does he?
I don't know, it probably might be something like that. And then I remember Paul Taylor was another one. He used to always get up to mad stuff at Peterborough, and he ended up he stole the room key for one of the lads in the and got in their room and just put the coffee sachets in the shower head. So when they've gone and had a shower in the morning, it's just come out.
That's clever.
That's commitment, though.
Top
things like that. Yeah. Always used to happen when you're away, like I said, put coffee in there. And then another one they used to do with used to fill the bin up, because obviously hotel room doors used to open inwards, didn't you? So they all run in. Used to put a bin full of water against the door, so knock on the door. So when the people open it, water would just fall into the room. Stupid stuff like that too.
Yeah. Biggest prankster, I guess, you met in your career, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, Tomo was up there to be fair. Tomo used to all mess around and do some funny stuff, and there's some quite good ones.
I bet there's too many to remember, to be honest.
I think last Snodgrass, we had a story off Beckford. Must have been doing the rounds, the put the bin up against the door routine. I think Snodgrass went out to a few of his teammates. Yeah,
there's some things. To be fair, talking about weirdly, one of the best stories I was when I went to Sheffield. I think someone was telling me about Derby. I was saying about Stephen Bywater, and he was saying apparently the physio at Derby used to get around on one of their computer chairs, like the little slidey thingy ones.
Oh yeah.
And he said apparently he'd like fallen out of him one day or whatever. So he went in and unscrewed all his wheels on his thing. So when he's gone on it in the morning to like slide across it like that, he's just fallen and just stacked it in the middle of the treatment room in front of everyone. But
good times.
Yeah, like you say, when you think back now, this even I remember like the first one of the first years as being not even a scholar, we were a first year pro. A couple of me and the other two young lads, we were having to tidy the gym one time, and Nathan Jones is like, we've all been shut in. Then there was 2 doors, so one at the end and one at the near side in Yeovil's like gym side, and they've turned the lights off. And as they've turned the lights off, 4 of the boys have come in with a big Bosu like balls like that, just volleyed them up. They've just got smacked in like the face and everything like that when they've turned the lights off and stuff like that. So you just used to get abused and stuff like that. But it was, like you say, you think now you could never get away with it. But you think at the time,
bit of hazing of the youngsters, right, coming through.
Yeah, because we had to, when Steve Thompson was the assistant, we had to do if we went in the squad on the Saturday, which obviously we weren't initially straight away as young kids. So on the Friday after training, we used to do a 12-minute Cooper run test, and we had to beat him. And he was like an ex-Marine Army person or something like that. And if you didn't beat him, you had to go back on the Saturday and do it Saturday morning before the game.
With him again?
Yeah, and you had to try and beat him.
Wow.
So, yeah, it'd be... Yeah,
Cooper race.
A few times to take me a few goes till I end up managed to beat him at that. Otherwise, it was like... But it was, again, good stuff that you probably now think tested character and things like that. For the testing it was all good. But, yeah, like you say, there's several stupid things you can imagine people doing, stuff like that.
So obviously you retired from the game and you're now working in coaching. Is that kind of your long-term plan? Is that what you're going to be up to, just continuing your coaching journey?
Yeah, I think, again, I never really sort of envisioned getting into coaching, if I'm honest. Again, I was probably more lucky in getting into it because of the owner at the time at Yeovil, but I'd love to. I've just done a master's degree in sporting directorship to be a sporting director, but I'd love to do something that side of football as well. Again, when it talks about like the running of football clubs, understanding it and just basically seeing all the intricacies of it and stuff like that. I love, like, again, within the academy, the sort of assistant academy manager type thing and stuff as well. Like, they're all like long-term goals and stuff like that. But the minute, it's just about coaching and trying to be as best coach I can and try and help all the young lads today at Luton be as hopefully as good as they can and probably do as I say, not as I did, because otherwise if they did that the other way around, they'd be horrific.
Team of the decade.
Everyone can be good once.
So obviously Luton in the Premier League, they got relegated. What's the kind of vibe around the club? Do you get involved in the senior stuff much?
We're very fortunate in terms of we get a lot of interaction with like the first team, and like, again, from my point of view as a 15-16s coach, what right do I have to be able to have the ear of the manager every now and again to talk to you, or the assistant, like I said, Trolls, even the academy manager to speak to you. So it's a real close-knit, real unique sort of club, I think, in terms of that and how hands-on and how close you can be to sort of first team and stuff like that. But yeah, obviously they're disappointed because realistically they got so close, but so far as well. But again, it goes back to what we said about that start. As long as we start all right, then you try and build that momentum through. But I think, if anything now, hopefully the boys have had a taste of what it's like to be in the Prem and they want to get back there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So
they lost a few winning game positions, and they were so close to staying up. I think they got much closer than personally I thought.
Yeah, and I think
isn't it?
I think if it wasn't for a lot of injury, I know a lot of teams can say that. Newcastle could say it. I think there's a few that could have said of injuries and stuff. I think they would have maybe done it, if I'm honest.
He scored goals, didn't he?
Yeah, but again, it comes back to what we said. In Championship, you get away with their mistakes or their little individual areas or whatever, but the amount of, I think we scored quite a few own goals and stuff like that, or just little silly, sloppy mistakes, and like you say, from winning positions, we end up losing a few, and I think that was down to the ruthlessness of the league, really, if I'm honest.
Have they got enough to bounce back for next season, do you think?
I hope so. Like you say, again, you never know. There's some big teams that are in that league now that have, again, come up and have sort of come down, being all the same three. But I don't think there's anyone really that they should fear. I just think a lot of it will just come down to the start and who can be the most relentless, because back in the Championship it's Saturday, Tuesday sort of thing. So it's just about what team. I think Leeds will be up there this year, if I'm honest, and obviously Norwich will probably be there or thereabouts, plus the three that come down. But I think from our point of view, again, this is just me speaking for me in terms of it, but we haven't really sort of spent a great deal when we went up, so we've managed to keep, other than probably maybe one or two, but that might move. But I think the basis of the team will be there, and what they've sort of got there in terms of a culture and all that side of it, I don't think will change too much, like you say, and hopefully that inner desire and motivation of wanting to get back to, they've had a taste of it now, want to get back there is a good driving factor for them.
What about Tom Lockyer as well? Obviously, he's had his problems on field, and he's forced to retire. Is he still involved in the club at all? Or?
Yeah, I must admit, again, I can't speak for himself in terms of that, and I've not really seen a massive amount of him because he's obviously got his own things to worry about, and we hope he makes a good recovery from all that. But it probably shows you what's more important than football at times and everything like that, and his health's first and foremost for him and his family. But yeah, I think he's been in and around the club a little bit more of late, and whether he moves into a coaching capacity or does something else, because I think his leadership and the way he carries himself and what he's achieved for the club far outweigh what he was as a player as well. Not that he's obviously a very, very good player, he's a Premier League player, but I think the other stuff he brings to it in terms of as a human being, he's priceless, if I'm honest, and I think that'll be valuable to keep around the club in some capacity, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And you were reunited with Andros Townsend for obviously Yeovil, wasn't he?
Yeah, I know. I think all the boys thought I was
days.
joking when I went and said hello to him the first time. You don't know him. So I was again, fortunate enough. But again, that's a testament more to those boys, Andros himself, in terms of how he's looked after him, but how humble he is as a person. That again, he recognises this pale little weird individual that he comes and sees across that he's probably hadn't seen for 15 years. Yeah, exactly. Thinks, he still sounds like that weird little farmer person. So again, it's nice, and it's good to see people like that again, and more importantly, it's good to see that obviously they've gone and done well for themselves and had a really good career. Like I say, flipping out, he's played about 300 games in the Prem, so fair play.
Yeah. England caps as well, obviously. Yeah.
So he wasn't a bad player.
No, definitely. So, obviously, your retirement, you kind of had no down period, I suppose, of not doing anything. You've gone straight into. Do you think that's a good thing? You didn't want a little break from kind of doing stuff?
Yeah, my miss will tell you, you'll lose your head with me, like not doing anything. Because I'm OCD, I can't sit still.
Yeah.
And I think, to be fair, in terms of a down, I think I had enough of a downtime per se when it was COVID and all that sort of stuff anyway, because it wasn't like we did anything then at that point. And I think, if anything, that made me realise I can't not do nothing. I need to be on the go. So I was quite lucky that I managed to get, like I say, alongside Harlow and doing all that then they were sort of helping me a lot in terms of that. And then to now get into the coaching it was important, I think, for me to go straight into stuff, if I'm honest, because I need to be doing something. And at the end of the day, I'm still trying to learn. I'm by no means near any good at coaching yet, and far from it. So I need to start learning and do as much as I can, put the hours in, put the effort in to hopefully be at least half decent.
Good stuff.
Yep.
So, end of the show now. We're going to do some 10 light-hearted questions, bit of fun. Do you want to kick us off, Matt?
Yeah,
go down the road.
I know you said you've got a good scoring ratio. What was the best goal you scored?
The best goal scored. It's probably the one I would like to think it's the one at Watford at home for Peterborough. Is it the bar and gone in? I'm sure it was. Probably that one, possibly. Or that Colchester one was a good one as well, I think maybe.
Yeah. You got a bar in. Was that the volley or?
No, it was just a little cutback one.
Okay.
It's on like a YouTube thing, I think it is.
First touch.
First time strike.
First
time. Shut my eyes again, like I told you. Shut your eyes and just kick it.
Whole career, shut your eyes.
Yeah, best way. Told you. Can't see the bad passes then, so it's all right.
Okay, I got a fun one for you. Yeah, if you was trapped on a desert island somewhere, and you needed to get off, but you could only take one other ex-pro with you, who are you having with you to try and get off the island?
To get off me. Nathan Jones, because he's the fittest geezer in the world. And he'd be able to swim for fun.
Just swim,
yeah. And
don't make a raft, just swim.
Nah, he'd swim, just and then because he'd be swimming that much faster and quicker, he'd be in the front, and so if anyone's going to get eaten, he'd get eaten first, and then I'll be alright.
Good thinking, yeah.
Brilliant.
So what was your pre-match routine? Like meal, music, superstitions? Did you have anything you had to do before you played?
Not really, because I think I tried quite a few little sort of like pre-match meals and stuff like that, and I was crap with all of them, so I don't think any of them worked.
So nothing you had to do to kind of make you feel a bit, all right, I've done that now.
Because I think one of the worst things I ever did, which I had to stop as a pre-match routine, I remember my first games, one of the games at Peterborough, this is horrendous, so kids don't ever do this, but my pre-match was 6 Krispy Kremes. For one game.
Joking.
No, but I ended up getting man of the match in the game at Peterborough.
Wow.
And then
That's my pre-match routine.
But then I thought, I
6.
can't. Yeah, it was bad that, innit? Because I don't even know why. Again, the joys of living on your own. And I know at Yeovil a little bit, so my pre-match meal on a Friday night used to be an Indian quite often.
Okay.
So I think it's because I felt guilty that I'd have to run it off on the Saturday, so it's probably what made me play better.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had to run around a bit more. But yeah, no, I don't really think I had any superstitions, really, like I say, because I think I got in a situation, especially early on, I probably overthought it and then got.
Maybe just close your eyes. That was the
just close your eyes.
That was the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, put your Adidas stand finders on and kicking it to the man in Rose Ed. That's usually what I used to do.
Brilliant.
Okay, I haven't checked this, but did you ever get a red card? And did you deserve it?
Yes, probably. Yeah, because I was like the last man for Peterborough one time, and I think we were against Rochdale. We were winning 2-1, and I brought the geezer down right last minute, but thankfully we ended up winning the game, so the gaffer was all right with me, and he said it was good.
Yeah, worth it then.
So yeah,
Took one for the team. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So if you had to choose between one of the two, you roast dinner guy or a cooked breakfast?
Cooked breakfast. Or actually, I don't really
Think about it. You got to think about it.
No, that's what I was just thinking, because I don't really eat roast dinners that much, because I don't like roast potatoes. I don't really eat, and cooked breakfast. I don't.
Any
like
potatoes
sausages,
as well?
I don't like bacon. So.
Any potato.
Yeah, no, I like potato, but just not roast potatoes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So depends what you're classing involved as a cooked breakfast.
Well, your traditional English, as you cook breakfast: sausage, egg, beans, tomatoes.
So if it was just
black pudding,
egg on toast or scrambled egg on toast, I'd say that. But
okay.
if it's
Yeah.
I'm boring, I'm very simple. And that's far too extravagant.
6
okay,
Krispy Kremes.
So like scrambled egg on toast.
Yeah, poached egg on toast.
On toast.
Poached egg on toast, or if it's chicken with chicken, mashed potato, and Yorkshire pudding or something like that, probably a random combination would be weird. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm a weirdo. So.
You want to give it a little twist? Yeah, okay. No, I was just talking about your
Oh,
meal.
right.
You want rather a bit of a twist than a standard.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be sad. As my missus hates going out for dinner with me anywhere, because I can't ever have whatever's planned.
Change the
I need
menu.
to change everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
It was so during your career, all the matches you played, all the teams you played against. It was the kind of most exciting, duel you're going to come up against as a player.
Weirdly, the best one, and I can remember this, probably a bit. Not that he's the biggest now, but he was one of the biggest players. Was Nikola Zigic.
Oh, right, yeah.
So played against him, and this was probably one of my
Birmingham.
Yeah, for Birmingham, and one of the best things, he actually come to me into our changing room after the game and asked me for my shirt.
No way. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Brilliant.
And it was because he said you were really good. I didn't expect you to be that good. Because I think I beat him in the air a couple of times, maybe, I don't know. And that was a real.
He's massive as well.
Yeah, and I don't know. That was just one that really sort of resonated with me. I was really happy with that shirt. Still at home in I think my old man's loft. I think somewhere, pride of place.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that'd be the one person I think easily.
How high can you jump?
Probably not as high now as I used to. But yeah, I got called Tigger for a little bit at Sheffield because we'd be able to jump.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one for you. Winter holiday or summer holiday?
Now I can go skiing. I would love to go skiing. I think so. I'd probably say winter. My missus would hate me and probably want to say summer but again, summer holiday, staying around a lunch, some lounge, I can't do it.
Oh yeah,
if I'm now playing with the kid and all in the pool and stuff like that.
Factor 500.
Oh yeah, factor flipping out. I got a shorts tee. I got fully clothed. I got a morph suit on.
Scuba suit. Yeah.
Everything. But yeah, I think. But now I would personally, I'd probably say winter holiday because I'd want to, like I say, go skiing. Now I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. And so all the grounds you played at, was there one particular stadium where you just felt like, or maybe a team even, you know, like, yeah, I got this today.
Ellen Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been even playing at Wembley, Old Trafford, whatever. That's still the best place. Personally, I've played at. I've looked forward to it. Wolves was good, but Ellen Road was the most. Whether again, like you say, it's because that was the first time I played there, was captain of this, that, and even though we lost, I actually played all right. And every time I played there, I've done all right. And just because I think it's so close, everything is proper old-fashioned atmosphere, and that easily I've always, and I can say that with no hesitation.
None of the Beckford goals were your fault, then, by the sounds?
Thankfully not. I think he was on the other side of the point, so it was all right.
Yeah. Because you must have played against some other strikers who kind of gone through the leagues to Premier League. Was Ricky Lambert come across? Yeah,
Lambert was there. Come across, played him quite a few times. When he was at Bristol Rovers, then when he was at Southampton.
Grant Holt, they've got a few names down here.
Yeah, Grant Holt when he was at Norwich.
Akinfenwa.
Flipping out, strongest man in football.
Really?
Yeah, flipping out.
Beast mode.
Yeah, quite literally. Quite a few to be fair, in terms of that have been, like you say, good and gone on.
Vardy as well, no, though.
Yeah, when he was at Leicester, that Leicester team that won League One and then won the Championship. Well, they were really good. Cash Schmeichel had the biggest kick I've ever seen as a keeper.
Yeah,
literally put it on the edge of the box, kicked it to Steve Howard, and then Vardy ran off him and kept scoring.
Fair play. So, is there one moment in your career that you would like to go back to and just do something a little bit different?
Yeah, my debut I made in the FA Cup for Yeovil against Torquay. It was one of my worst memories ever. The ball was going out for a goal kick, and I thought it was going out for a corner. I kept it in. The Torquay winger nicked it, and then they ended up scoring, and it was on BBC. In front of everyone. I got abused to it. so long. Caned.
Who scored that goal? Do you remember?
Someone for Torquay. Yeah, I couldn't.
Okay.
I just got basically caned for so long after it. Being told I'll never play football again.
Probably had your eyes closed. Didn't check
probably,
who's...
probably one time I had them open. That's why I kept it in. Should have just let it go.
Brilliant.
Cool.
Okay, and we ask every guest, who is the GOAT?
I think, from personal I love Ronaldo, but Messi's the best player.
Right answer.
Okay. Well, we just want to be...
Zidane would be personal.
Zidane, yeah.
I would say it's personal.
Cool. All right, well, thanks for coming on, Craig. We just want to
thank
be respectful of your time. So we're going to wrap up the show there. So thank you, everyone, for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you leave a like. If you want to get involved in the debate, leave a comment in the comment section. And don't forget, just hit that subscribe button to help support the channel.